Have you ever found yourself completely baffled and, quite frankly, exhausted because you feel like you are doing everything right, but your body just isn't getting the memo? You know the drill. You went to the grocery store and made the responsible choices. You threw out the sugary breakfast cereals and replaced them with those heart-healthy whole grains that taste like cardboard. You finally ditched the soda and swapped it for fresh-pressed fruit juice. You are following all the traditional rules, yet that stubborn layer of belly fat refuses to budge, and your energy levels absolutely nosedive every single afternoon. It is beyond frustrating. It makes you feel like your willpower is broken, or worse, that your metabolism has just given up on you. But I need you to listen closely, because the stakes here are much higher than just fitting into your old pair of jeans or looking good for a reunion. That belly fat, specifically the visceral fat that is wrapping itself tightly around your internal organs, isn't just sitting there like stored cargo. It is acting like a rogue organ. It is biologically active. This fat tissue is pumping inflammatory signals straight up to your brain, causing that brain fog, that forgetfulness, and that sluggish cognitive decline you have been noticing lately. In fact, neuroscientists are now looking at insulin resistance in the brain as a primary driver for what they are starting to call type 3 diabetes. So, how do you know if you are dangerously close to this edge? I want you to pay attention to the 3 p.m. crash. If you cannot go 4 or 5 hours without eating, if you start getting shaky, irritable, or feel like you are going to pass out if you miss a lunch break, that is not natural hunger. That is a biological SOS signal. It is a sign of something called metabolic inflexibility. A healthy metabolism is like a hybrid car. It should seamlessly switch from burning food to burning stored body fat. But if you get the shakes when you skip a meal, your switch is broken. Your body has literally been locked out of its own fat stores, leaving you dependent on a constant, desperate drip of sugar just to function. And today, we are going to decode exactly which healthy food is locking that door and holding your metabolism hostage. So let's open the hood and look at the engine. We need to decode a biological switch inside of you called enzyme hydrolysis. You see, we have been told that whole grains are the good guys because they are complex carbohydrates. But biologically, complex doesn't mean slow, it just means big. Most wheat products, even the brown, organic, whole grain kind, are packed with a specific type of starch called Amylopectin A. To your body, Amylopectin A isn't health food, it is jet fuel. The moment you put that slice of whole wheat toast in your mouth, an enzyme in your saliva called amylase goes to work. I want you to visualize a long, beautiful pearl necklace. In this analogy, the necklace is the starch molecule, and every single pearl is a molecule of glucose, or sugar. Now, imagine amylase as a pair of scissors. If you eat a whole kernel of wheat, like a berry you pulled off the stalk, it takes a long time for those scissors to cut the pearls off because the outer shell protects them. But here is the trap. We don't eat wheat berries. We eat flour. Even whole grain flour has been pulverized, crushed, and ground into a fine dust. By destroying the cellular structure of the grain, we have effectively laid out that pearl necklace flat and exposed it to thousands of pairs of scissors at once. This is why the healthy label is an illusion. Because you are eating flour, the surface area is massive. The amylase enzymes attack the starch instantly. Instead of plucking one pearl off at a time, they shatter the necklace. Within seconds, that slice of toast triggers a massive explosion of glucose into your bloodstream. It doesn't trickle in, it floods in. And because it happens so fast, often faster than table sugar, your pancreas has to panic. It screams emergency and pumps out a massive wave of insulin to scrub that sugar out of your blood. And what does insulin do? It locks the doors to your fat cells. You cannot burn fat when insulin is high. This brings us to a reality check that might make you angry. If you look at the glycemic index, which measures how fast a food spikes your blood sugar, a Snickers bar scores about a 55. Whole wheat bread? It scores a 71 to 74. How is that possible? Because the candy bar contains fats and nuts that actually slow down absorption. The bread is just exposed, pulverized glucose waiting to happen. Just because a label says healthy or natural does not mean it is safe for your biochemistry. You are essentially eating a sugar bomb disguised as a fiber source, and your metabolism is paying the price. So, how do we fix this? We need a completely new operating manual for your metabolism, and the golden rule of this manual is simple: protect the pancreas. Stop counting calories for a moment and focus entirely on lowering the demand for insulin. Once you lower the insulin, you unlock the vault to your fat stores. Here is your 3-step blueprint to make that happen. Step 1 is the Savory Breakfast. This is non-negotiable. Tomorrow morning, I want you to look at your toast, your oatmeal, or that banana, and I want you to walk away. When you wake up, your cortisol, the stress hormone, is naturally higher. If you add sugar or starch to that mix, you are creating a hormonal disaster. Instead, I want you to eat 3 eggs, maybe some bacon, ham, or a piece of leftover salmon with half an avocado. Why? Because protein and healthy fats trigger dopamine, the neurotransmitter that gives you drive, focus, and alertness. Starch, on the other hand, triggers serotonin, which makes you feel relaxed and sleepy. You don't want to be sleepy at 9 a.m. Switch to savory and watch your morning energy completely stabilize. Step 2 is what I call the glucose sponge. This is the easiest hack in the book. Immediately after your biggest meal of the day, I want you to go for a 10-minute walk. We aren't trying to burn calories here. We are activating a mechanism. When your large leg muscles contract and release while walking, they physically open up little doorways on your muscle cells called GLUT4 channels. These channels suck glucose straight out of your bloodstream and into the muscle to be used as energy. And here is the magic part: they do it without needing insulin. It is basically a free pass to lower your blood sugar and give your pancreas a break. Just 10 minutes can flatten your glucose curve significantly. Step 3 is your brain rescue. I know that cutting out bread can make you feel foggy at first because your brain is screaming for that quick sugar hit. We are going to bypass that with a biological shortcut called MCT oil, specifically the C8 type if you can find it. You can put a tablespoon of this in your morning coffee. Unlike other fats that have to go through a long digestion process, MCT oil goes straight to your liver and is instantly converted into ketones. Ketones are a superfuel that can cross the blood-brain barrier and feed your brain directly, bypassing the insulin resistance. It is like turning the lights back on in a dark room. It kills the brain fog instantly. Now, for a practical tool tip, I know old habits die hard. If you absolutely need something to hold a sandwich together, don't buy the standard whole wheat. Go to Walmart or Costco and look for keto breads like Sola or Nature's Own that specifically list high-resistance starch or high fiber on the label. These act differently in the body. And while you are at Costco, grab a bottle of that MCT oil. It is the best insurance policy you can buy during this transition. Let's hit a reality check, because the food industry is absolutely brilliant at playing tricks on our psychology. The biggest trap I see well-meaning people fall into is the Veggie Straw delusion. You see these bags everywhere, from school lunchboxes to office desks, and the logic seems sound. It's crunchy like a chip, but it's made of spinach and carrots, so it must be good. Let me be crystal clear. Veggie straws are not vegetables. If you look at the ingredients, they are primarily potato starch and refined corn flour, 2 of the most aggressive glucose-spiking ingredients on the planet. The vegetable part is nothing more than a microscopic dusting of powder used for food coloring. When you eat these, your biochemistry doesn't see a salad. It sees a concentrated injection of starch. Your blood sugar rockets up, your insulin spikes, and your fat-burning machinery shuts down just as fast as if you had eaten a bag of Lay's potato chips. Don't let the green and orange dye fool you. It is highly processed junk food wearing a health halo. Now, I need to shift gears and give you a critical medical warning. This is not a disclaimer, this is a safety requirement. If you are currently taking medication to manage type 2 diabetes, especially insulin or drugs like sulfonylureas that force your pancreas to secrete insulin, or if you are taking medication for high blood pressure, you absolutely must consult your doctor before making these dietary changes. Here is why. The strategy we discussed today works. It works fast. When you cut the starch and lower your insulin levels, your kidneys stop hoarding water and salt, which naturally lowers your blood pressure. Simultaneously, without the constant influx of glucose, your blood sugar levels will drop toward normal ranges. If you keep taking your high-dose medication while your body is naturally correcting itself, you risk driving your numbers dangerously low. You could experience severe hypoglycemia or a rapid drop in blood pressure that leads to fainting. This protocol is powerful medicine. You need your doctor on board to lower your prescription doses as your body heals. Do not skip this step.